when your family's been staying with us for half a year?
They're family, so don't frickin' complain, eh?
Trouble busters!
Helen, darling, might you kindly invest $300 into this humble bastard you see before you?
Again? Only 100 would be great, but could you help out an old gas bag? That's what you said only yesterday, Mr. Smith.
200 will be enough. I'll do whatever it takes.
Life isn't always kind, Mr. Smith. My name is Helen. I've been married to my husband, Seth, for 8 years, and he is absolutely useless. Zero social skills. From morning until night, all he thinks about is his hobby, which is collecting figurines of all kinds.
I'm the type of person who would never feed a landed fish anyway.
Right when I was worrying about what was going to happen to us in the future, that incident occurred.
Listen, Helen, it seems like my parents' house burned down in a fire.
A fire?
And I want to give them a place to stay for a while.
Here? Living together, eh?
Is there something to worry about?
Of course there are, but I guess it can't be helped. It's a fire after all. I agree, but only until the rebuilding is finished.
Thanks, I'll contact them.
I did consent to it, but to be honest with you, I was never truly okay with the idea. The reason was that I had tried to get my parents to live at our place a few years back. At the time, he opposed it strongly, so it never happened. However, the fact that my in-laws are allowed to live with us. But I have to be patient until the rebuilding is finished. We gotta help each other out when we're in trouble. Then my father-in-law, Maurice, and mother-in-law, Rose, arrived, and, well...
Dear Helen, can you provide $100 for this old gas bag?
Huh? Are you going off to hit the slot machines again?
Please, I'm at your mercy.
Can't be helped, I suppose. Ah, Helen dear, I'm going to the beauty salon this month too, so can I get $500? $500. For me, the cost is $150 at most. But it's not a trim for any poodle.
Well then, Mom, here, use my card.
Oh dear, you really got everything I need, Seth, honey. Seth, stop this.
Shut up, Helen. They're my parents. Enough complaining.
One day after exchanges like these continued, Seth, the amount of money in our joint account went down by 30%.
Mom and Dad are using it, you know? The hell is your damn problem?
That's the money we're saving for the future. Stop letting them waste our money.
So you don't want to help each other even though you're family with them?
That's not the problem. Listen, your family's been staying with us for half a year.
They're family, so don't frickin' complain, eh?
After that, my parents-in-law's wasteful spending continued. They went to go see a play together, the two of them, or eat at a high-end restaurant. My request for them to not waste my savings with Seth was completely ignored.
I got a super rare figurine! It's crazy that there are 50 owners of this baby in the whole world.
Seth, honey. Seth, please. What the hell did you eat to get this good at ignoring people? Damn it! And before I knew it, the situation had become irreversible. Hey, Seth, isn't the rebuilding of your parents' house finished yet? I think they're probably starting to miss home, you know?
Rebuilding? What are you talking about?
Huh? Because you see your parents' house burned down in a fire.
No, that. The damage wasn't that bad, turns out. Just a couple burn marks in the kitchen.
What? Hey, is that true? Then why do we live together?
Well, obviously, because it seemed like it would be easier to live here. They say they'll live here forever.
What the hell? Hey, Seth, about the upcoming renovation, see?
Let's make this here, that over there, and this right here all barrier-free.
I wonder what the exterior wall should be like. The hell you mean renovation? We don't have anywhere near that kind of money to afford it. We do, dear. We can just use Seth's card. And I'm telling you, Mrs. Smith, that's our joint property. I couldn't hold back anymore and charged out of the house crying. As I was trudging down this market street, two close friends of mine called out to me.
Hey, Helen, what's the matter?
You don't look too good. Oh, you too. I'm actually so stressed out. I'm so done.
What?
Must be so convenient for them to use the word family as a word to blackmail you.
Actually, it was my workplace that got the proposal for the renovation. Oh, do not worry, Helen. We can wait for the payments for a long while.
And also, please let me know if there's anything I can do to help. Melanie, Steve, thank you so much.
But still, this is outrageous. Isn't there some sort of weakness in these parasites?
Weaknesses? Wait! There is! The strongest ace in my pocket. How could I have forgotten? Thank you. Thanks to you two, I feel like I can fight somehow.
What a massive catch this was! bought a bunch of new figurines today, too.
That much again? Are you even thinking about your household finances?
You're such an annoying wife, eh? Complaining like a banshee all the time. If this was the case, I should have a figurine be my wife.
How dare you? That's it, I've reached my limit of patience. With that in mind, I put the strategy into action.
Hey, Helen! My figurine collection is gone. Know what happened to it?
Figurines? Oh, you mean those children's dolls that were lined up in your room gathering dust?
Dust my ass. Well, just about, yeah. What happened to them? It's my important collection, you know.
I put them up for sale. Every single one of them.
What?
Couldn't hear me? Out of business, buy them all. It can't be helped, right? Because you never bring money into the house.
But that ain't a reason to sell someone else's collections without permission.
What's all this fuss about? What are you crying about, Seth, honey?
Mommy, Helen sold my figure collection without my permission. It was a collection that I had carefully collected over many years since I was a child.
Main cause of me taking such measures is that you never bring home any damn bacon. I just sold it all because you don't make a living. You have no right to be upset about this.
Pay me compensation!
Oh ho ho! Demanding compensation from dear Helen, are we? Despite you not bringing money into the house?
Granddaddy! Dad!
Mr. Smith, weren't you supposed to be hospitalized for a long time?
I've recovered, thanks to you pricks. Sucks that injuries and illnesses tend to take longer to heal as people get older. I was consulted by Helen just as I was about to be dismissed from the hospital, and I thought it would be great timing, and I dropped by. That aside, I shall ask you once more.
Sir?
About the compensation. Are you going to insist upon this right of yours, without even fulfilling your duties as a husband? Are you actually going to make dear Helen, who always does her absolute darndest, pay you compensation? Eh? Answer me, grandson.
Mr. Smith, please, wait a minute.
What is it, Rose?
Please listen to what Seth has to say. This darling must have had a hard time also. He was just so done with living with his wife, who was nagging 24/7. Otherwise, there would have been no reason to be so attached to figurines.
And I was wondering what you'd say here now. Didn't grandson start his collection long before he ever got married? You dare think I don't know, despite being his own grandfather?
But even so, sir, as a parent myself, the way he has been so devoted ever since getting married was just not normal. This must be because of his wife, Helen, who never makes him happy. Such a far-fetched theory.
Totally so. If that kind of logic works, then anything will work.
I'm sorry, Granddaddy. I don't think it's unreasonable for you to be angry. I'll explain. The reason I was collecting figurines was to build up assets.
Oh, what codswallop now?
You know how old toys often have tremendous value, right? That's literally it. The figurines will eventually have value, and a very high value at that.
Well, that particular possibility isn't altogether improbable.
If so, answer specifically. Your figurines would be worth how much, when, and how much profit would that make you?
Huh? No, well, it's hard to put a value in figurines for the future, see? I still don't know exactly, unless I get an expert to judge them.
So in other words, your words are just pure speculation. Dear Helen is in trouble right now, grandson. She doesn't have any money at home, but there are figurines. Well then, let's sell the figurines. I don't think there is anything wrong with Helen's logic here. The fact you didn't consult with anyone in advance was your biggest mistake. And dear Rose,
Yes, sir?
is it true that you spend $500 on a single visit to a beauty salon once every month? I don't think that's in any way sane. Who in their old age and in their right ordinary mind would spend that kind of money on beauty appointments?
I indeed spend about $500, sir. After all, sir, I also have arrangements outside the home, you see.
What kind of arrangements do you have? And with whom?
Of course, arrangements with the wives of major figures who live around here. I can't just go to a salon looking shabby, can I? It may be reasonable to say that I'm showing off, but that's what a woman's heart is, and...
Not like I don't understand what you're trying to say, but the money you're spending probably belongs to your son and his wife, eh?
Oh, well, yes, it is.
You are free to have any kind of relationship with anyone anywhere, whether it's going to a beauty salon or buying clothes or bags for that purpose. You can do whatever you like, but shouldn't you have to pay it all for yourself? A parent is not someone who would purposefully waste the money their son and his wife have saved over time.
You're so good, Mr. Smith. Please keep on saying harsh things like that.
I also hear you often go to see plays and operas, and also go see movies together. You had so many hobbies, did you? Aren't you trying too hard to fit in with the mistresses around here? Also, I'm sure you have a good idea of how much you've spent on what things, eh?
What? How much did I use? On what? Why, sir?
Of course, it's to repay Helen and Seth, dear child. What if you paid back the money you spent on what was pure entertainment, eh? It would be different if the money was absolutely necessary for whatever, but entertainment expenses cannot be treated the same.
I kept records of when and how much money I gave to Mrs. Smith, sir. And as for the money taken from the account, I can just check the deposit record to confirm.
That is wonderful, my child. Rose, you must share this information with dear Helen. Pay her back the money you spent yourself.
Yes, sir.
And as for you, Morris... I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Whenever you had a chance, you bet on horse racing, occasionally touching upon boat racing, bicycle racing, pachinko, slots, motorcycle racing. You really don't change, do you? You're getting older and I can't see any growth. Zilch! Call yourself a humble bastard when you ask your own son's wife for $300 in cash, eh? Shame on you! Dad, please forgive me, I say. I was alone, and the loneliness gets to me. Again with the malarkey? Try imagining being thrown out of the countryside to a place where I didn't know anyone. Rose could make friends and do whatever she wanted to. Seth just locks himself in his room and plays with his dolls. There's no way Helen would entertain me, so what should I do on my own? Gambling, I say. There's no other way than to forget your loneliness with a dream of getting rich quickly. Enough with the bird brain excuses, boy. For your age, shameful. Your gambling addiction is exactly the same as Seth's obsession with figurines. Both started a long time ago. Don't you dare think that just because I'm ill, you can just say some random words and try to deceive me sharp old mind. I'm so sorry. Even if it's not gambling, people like you can find any hobby like fishing, go mountain climbing, among so many others. You yourself should be who should find a hobby that doesn't cost money. Dad, please, give me a break. By the way, why in the world did you guys decide to live with your son and his wife, eh? Helen seemed to believe that your home burned down in a fire, but that wasn't the case, was it? Tell us both in detail how this turned out to be.
The fire incident was a misunderstanding on Helen's part. She believed Mom and Dad's home had been burnt down. No, we're not at fault here.
So full of shit. You used the fact that there was a fire to mislead me. That was the way you told me. I remember it well, you know.
Enough! Don't lie about what people didn't do.
You added to the misunderstanding by saying that we would be living together for a while. You ignored the condition I gave, which was only until the rebuilding is finished. It was all just to keep me in the dark.
I'm telling you, that's not true.
Then explain to us what exactly isn't true, grandson. If you can't, shut your gourd.
Seth kept on mumbling, but in the end he fell silent.
I forgot to pursue one very important thing, the renovation. You guys proceeded to talk about the renovation without even getting Helen's permission.
And what of it, sir? We consulted Seth, so it should be fine.
Enough! It ain't fine, Rose. This house also belongs to Helen after all. If you do some things without her permission, I can't help you if and when you're accused of a crime. It would be difficult for Helen to tell y'all, so I'll say it for her. Maurice, you and your wife proceeded to discuss the renovation without permission. You pay the costs.
No, please.
Hey, got a complaint, do ya?
No, sir, I don't.
And so it seems, dear Helen. I'm so sorry for causing you so much trouble.
No, sir, thank you so much. I'm really glad I took the plunge and consulted you, Mr. Smith.
I'm the one who introduced you to Seth after all. If you're somehow suffering in the relationship, that's my responsibility too. If anything happens in the future, please let me know right away, yeah? I'll spare no effort in cooperating with you.
Yes, sir, thank you so much. After that, thanks to Mr. Smith Sr.'s strict warnings, the tyranny of my parents-in-law completely subsided. Mr. Smith no longer asked me for money with self-derogatory words, and Mrs. Smith no longer spends $500 a month on her beauty appointment.
And how is she after all this? Rose, I mean.
Yes, it seems like she's keeping the amount down to about the same amount as a poodle haircut by her standards.
Is that so? That's good. Very good. I guess she's also reevaluating her friendships.
Indeed. As you said, Mr. Smith, I think that she was trying to force herself to match herself to people who were level far higher than she. Mrs. Smith has noticeably decreased the number of times she goes out to see movies and admire art, and she doesn't seem to be particularly dissatisfied with just watching reruns of sitcoms at home for entertainment. She no longer buys too many clothes and bags either.
What about Seth? What happened after the nonsense with his dolls?
He promised to give up all the figurines, and appears that he will not seek compensation either.
Good, very good. I was worried that Seth might have remained steadfast after I left.
If I were to receive any demands for compensation from him, I had decided to file for divorce at that point, regardless of the amount.
Well then, seems like Seth saved his own ass.
I hope that he'll be able to put some money aside into your home from now on, though. A few weeks after that, my parents-in-law decided to return home. I think they decided that since they could no longer live their lives as they pleased here, there was no point in staying. My in-laws are paying for the renovation and left the house clean. If I think about it, maybe my hard work will be rewarded a little because of that. Well then, I hope you do well, Seth. Helen, dear.
Come and show me your faces every once in a while, yeah?
Yeah, Dad. You, don't push yourself too hard, eh? You too, Mom. Also, send me a few photos of the brand new kitchen once the burn marks are gone.
Got it, my boy. See ya, kiddos.
Goodbye, sir, ma'am. And thus ended my year and several months of living together with my in-laws. There is the possibility that we will live together again in the future, but I'm sure I'll be able to handle it better than this time. All things considered, I'm so glad I have at least one relative I can rely on in times of dire need. Thanks to this, I managed to avoid the worst possible future. From now on, I will never give up on my happiness. Troublebusters.